Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and get straight to the insights for you. Now, many of you might be searching online, probably typing in CSRNet 2025 cutoffs, hoping for just, a simple number. But what if the real story is actually more complex? And understanding those details, well, it could really shift how you plan your career. Today, we are digging into the official results, the data that just came out for the joint CSIR UGC-Net December 2024 exam. That's the one that finished up early in 2025.
That's exactly right. And we're not just listing numbers here. We want to show you the paths these numbers open up. Are you going for the JRF, the Junior Research Fellowship, or maybe aiming for assistant professor eligibility, or even thinking about direct PhD admission? It's really about seeing the strategy behind the scores.
Strategy, I like that. So let's get into this landscape. We hear about passing exams all the time, but for something like CSRNet, how different are those basic pass marks from the really competitive cutoffs?
Yeah, that's a super important distinction. It's basically a two-tier system. You've got to understand this. First, there are the minimum qualifying marks. Think of this as the absolute floor. For general, EWS, OBC, it's 33%. For SC, ST, PWD, it's 25%. You have to hit this mark, no question. But here's the kicker. Clearing that minimum, it doesn't actually guarantee qualification, not at all.
Okay, so that's just step one.
Exactly, step one. Then come the dynamic merit-based final cutoff percentages. These are the real deal. They change based on how tough the paper was, how everyone else did, how many JRFs or lectureships are actually available. So hitting the minimum gets your foot in the door, maybe. But the cutoff, that's what gets you the actual seat.
Got it. Foot in the door versus seat at the table. Great analogy. So bearing that in mind, how did those actual competitive numbers look for the Junior Research Fellowship, JRF, in the December 2024 exam? I noticed some, pretty big differences between subjects like unreserved chemical science was 59.00%, but then mathematical science was way down at 50.25%. What causes that kind of gap?
Yeah, you've definitely spotted something interesting there. Those JRF numbers show really fierce competition. And this is where it gets tricky, especially with subjects like life sciences. You might see a cutoff like 99.03% for unreserved. And your first reaction is probably, wait, 99%? How is that even possible?
Exactly. That sounds impossibly high.
Right. But here's the crucial bit. For subjects tested in multiple shifts, like life science often is, that's not a percentage score. It's a percentile score. It means you scored higher than 99.03% of all the other candidates in life science. It's a totally different way of measuring, designed to normalize scores and keep things fair when papers might vary slightly in difficulty between shifts.
Wow. Okay. Percentile, not percentage.
Yeah.
That is a huge distinction. I bet a lot of us miss that. So it's more about your rank relative to others, not just your raw score.
Precisely. It's about outperforming the field.
Okay. Now let's shift gears slightly to the assistant professor eligibility cutoffs. I always notice these are consistently, lower than the JRF marks. Using your chemical science example again, unreserved was 53.9% for AP compared to the 59.00% for JRF. Why the difference there?
It really boils down to the purpose and, frankly, the scarcity. JRF is that golden ticket. It comes with the fellowship, actual funding for research. It's limited, so competition is intense, pushing the cutoff up. Assistant professor eligibility, though, it's a broader qualification. It certifies a larger group of people as eligible for teaching and research roles across the country. So the benchmark can be set a bit lower to ensure enough qualified candidates are available for academic positions.
Makes sense. Different goals, different bars to clear. And then finally, there's that third tier, the PhD admission only cutoffs. These seem to be the lowest, right? Like unreserved chemical science was 42.50%, another pathway altogether.
Exactly. It really shows how the system provides multiple entry points. You've got the high bar for funded JRF, the mid-level for general academic eligibility, and this other route specifically for PhD program admissions. Each serves a different need.
So we see these numbers shift, sometimes quite dramatically, like that math science example. What are the actual forces at play? What really determines where those cutoff lines are drawn each time?
Well, it's a mix of factors, these mechanisms of merit, as you might call them. First, simple supply and demand, the number of candidates taking the exam versus the number of available award slots for JRF or lectureship. More candidates, fewer slots, cutoffs go up. Second, and this is a big one, the difficulty level of the exam paper itself. You mentioned mathematical science JRF dropping from, 58.875% in June 2024 down to 50.25% in December.
Yeah, quite a drop.
That strongly suggests the December paper was significantly harder. When the paper is tougher, scores naturally dip and the cutoff adjusts downwards. And finally, as we talked about, those subject-specific methods, like using percentiles for multi-shift subjects like life science, that also shapes the final numbers you see.
That really clarifies the why behind the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pivot. For the candidates who made it, who navigated this system and qualified fantastic news, what happens next? What are the practical steps?
Right, first things first. Double-check your individual result. Go to the official NTA CSRNet portal. That's CSIRNet.nta.ac.in. You'll need your application number and either your password or date of birth to log in and see your scorecard. Then, the next major milestone is getting your official e-certificate. This isn't immediate. It usually takes about 2-3 months after the results are out. You'll download it from the CSIR HRDG website, which is csrhrdg.res.in.
Okay, certificate downloaded. What about how long these qualifications are good for? That seems crucial.
Absolutely crucial. And they differ. Your JRF award letter, that golden ticket, is valid for 2 years from the date of issue. That's your window to enroll in a PhD program and activate the fellowship funding. Assistant professor eligibility, however, that's for lifetime. Once you've qualified, that eligibility doesn't expire. And the PhD admission-only qualification. That one's valid for 1 year, specifically for getting into a PhD program. So different clocks are ticking for each.
2 years for JRF, lifetime for AP, 1 year for PhD only.
Yeah.
Got it. This has been incredibly helpful. It really underscores that just looking at one cutoff number doesn't tell the whole story. Understanding this tiered system, the percentiles, the validity periods, it's all part of building your strategy.
Exactly. It's about navigating the landscape intelligently. So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. Now that you see these distinct pathways, JRF, assistant professor, PhD admission, each with its own level of competition and reward, how might you tailor your own goals, your own preparation, to best fit into this dynamic system and achieve your specific research or academic ambitions?